See, you have lists of potential
Those
questions.
are potential
Why
questions.
are they potential? Are they meaning they have potential to be asked of me right now?
Yeah, because Bussin With The Boys is more founded on organic conversation. And here we are right now making it no longer organic conversation because I'm talking about being organic. So there it can't be so organic.
Correct. But
if we run into a little brick wall like we might be right now, I could look over in the corner and say,
you want to ask me one of the potential
hey,
questions?
How was the NFL Hall of Fame ceremony?
Oh, it was great, Taylor.
Yeah?
Thanks for asking.
And then you would elaborate more because you're on a show.
Right.
Well, were you nervous during it?
No.
Were you more nervous during that or doing the roast of Tom Brady?
Okay. I was the roast of Tom Brady was wild. So I wasn't asked to do that until the day before by Jeff Ross.
Really?
Yes.
Jeff Ross.
Jeffrey Ross, I've known since September of 2001 when I was at a party in New York City just after 9/11. It was like the first time everyone was out and about.
Yeah.
And I saw him at a party and I fanboyed him because he had just done the roast of Jerry Stiller, where Sandra Bernhardt had done some musical act with Jerry Stiller, and he stepped up and he told the famous line, Sandra Bernhardt, she's so ugly, I wouldn't fuck her with B. Arthur's dick. And B. Arthur, somebody who you probably don't know before your time, she was on Golden Girls, and she was, getting up in years, and she was on the dais, and he roped in a 70-year-old woman and accused her of having a male part.
And that was the way to your heart.
It was the funniest. It still is the funniest roast joke ever said anywhere by anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hit it off, and we've known each other ever since then. So he called me the day before, and he goes, "How would you like to kick off the roast of Tom Brady tomorrow night?" Because I was going anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be there with my wife Susie, and I were going anyway. And he goes, "How'd you like to start it?" And I'm like, "You had me at hello, of course, like 100%. I'll do that." And he had told me, because he's always up front with me, that he was trying to get Mike Tyson to do that first. And
imagine how that would go.
I know if Tyson was going to start it off, right? Like, let's get ready to rumble or whatever the hell. And so for whatever reason, it didn't happen. I'm like, I'm happy to be your plan B after Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, it's the only time in my life I've ever been a plan B after Mike Tyson for anything. But so I was going to start it off. So I rehearsed. They had me go down to the forum earlier on that Sunday and rehearse it. So I did it. It's on the prompter. I can read a prompter, for 30 years, not a problem. And so as we're getting ready to walk in, and it's time to walk into the arena, my wife, Suze, who's been in the business for as long as I've been, turns to me and she asked me, and she never really asked me, she goes, "Are you nervous to do this?" And I'm like, "No, like I just rehearsed it. It's on the prompter and whatever." So we walk in the arena, and the idea that there's a roast in an arena it's a pretty big room for a roast. And I was a little concerned that the roast wouldn't go over well in a room full of 10,000 people.
Right.
But the place was already half hour before packed.
Mm-hmm.
And there must have been a million open bars or whatever, because everybody was ready to roll. You could feel the energy in that arena a half hour before. All the Sullys and Fitzes and their Edelman jerseys and their Gronk jerseys and their Brady jerseys, they were lit. Literally, figuratively. You could feel the energy. And so now it's time to actually do it. And they put me right there out in front, hand the microphone, and the camera goes in my face. And I thought to myself, oh, shit. Like, this is actually happening. It's live. And I'm, introducing Kevin Hart, and everybody's there, and I'd seen everybody. And I'm like, okay, now I'm starting this thing off. And then as soon as they started the roast, that Netflix doom.
Yeah.
They played that in the arena, and it echoed off of everything, and the place went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it, like a hint of a butterfly hit. And I thought to myself, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because I just remember the first time I started SportsCenter, my first SportsCenter ever was in the spring of '96. I was 26 years old. My only experience was local sportscaster in Redding, California, small, beautiful town up in Northern California. And now here I am on the SportsCenter set, and I'm going down, and it was a sweet round of 32 Saturday of the March Madness. And it was a half-hour show with Larry Beal. And I had 12 highlights, and I'd only seen one of them. So 11 of my highlights that I was going to be doing live on ESPN for the first time were going to be handed to me during the show. And I remember thinking to myself, walking downstairs, I have two choices. I can shit in my pants, or I can just go and tee it up and let it fly. And I probably did both. But that's the feeling I had for the Brady roast, where I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, why am I nervous? It's on the prompter. I've done this a million times. And that was the greatest night, man. I love roasts.
They're awesome.
I love them because, it's for the lack of a better phrase, I don't think Brady would call it this, but it's a safe space where, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a safe space. Like, and to that point, I thought the Brady roast was like a Patriots therapy session a long time coming, where Bledsoe got shit off his chest that he never would have been able to tell Brady to his face or Belichick to his face. And Edelman did the same thing, and Gronk did the same thing to each other and to everybody else there. And Kraft being there and Belichick being there. It got everything out in the safe space of, you could say what you can say in the roast. Sure, there's a germ of truth in pretty much everything that you're saying, but it's all in a spirit of having a good time and being fun and saying the wrong thing. And it's tough to say the jokes now, because when you're out of the context of the roast, it sounds awful. But I love it. It was great. And I think it, not to get too deep here, but it made Brady's actual Hall of Fame night in New England a month later that much more joyous. There was none of the undercurrent of, well, they don't like him, he doesn't like them, they're still pissed about that time. It got everything off their chest, and it was just about Brady's night of being honored and going into the Patriots Hall of Fame, and that's all it was about. That's what that roast was. It was amazing.
It was
spectacular.
One of the best roasts I've ever seen. It was so long too.
It was 3 hours.
Right. It was because they usually like an hour, right?
Because they added a lot of people. They were putting a lot of.
Tony Hinchcliffe wasn't supposed to be up there that long.
Tony Hinchcliffe was brilliant.
He was unbelievable.
Brilliant.
That was one of the things I was going to ask you: is who was your favorite?
Well, Nikki Glaser and him were just dominating.
They stole the show.
They did. Nikki Glaser's joke about Gronk with the crypto, like, we know that not real money, like Brady, like, how did you lose all that money,
right,
and her telling that joke, even Gronk knows me know that not real money. And that was the first joke of the night, where the upper bowl of the arena laughed longer and louder than the lower bowl, so it was kind of like, for lack of a better analogy, like a starburst in the galaxy that took a few more light years to hit Earth.
Yeah.
And so everybody's laughing in the lower bowl, loud laugh. And then the upper bowl came on top of it and made it even louder and longer. And that's when it was really cooking with gas. I mean, that was after Bledsoe went and Jeff Ross went. He says that he's going to gift me for my studio his Roast J. Simpson jersey framed. So I'm going to get that from him for sure, and place that in my studio. Bledsoe went, he went, Kevin Hart was outstanding. And then she went, and amazing. And Hinchcliffe was brilliant. He just tore that place a new one. Yeah. So he was great. I thought Bledsoe was hilarious. And I heard that when Belichick, when Kraft came out of the audience to do a shot with Belichick, and it looked like Bill wanted to do anything on planet Earth except take a shot with Kraft, I was told it had nothing to do personally with Kraft. It's just that Bill doesn't like drinking tequila very much, and he had just done a shot 5 minutes earlier with Gronk and Edelman. And he's just like, another shot of tequila. Like, he's more of a wine drinker. I'm kind of the same way. So he was actually reacting to having to do another shot of tequila. And then Gronk spiked the shot glass, which he wasn't supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And I think it did catch somebody in the front row.
Really?
Yeah.
Hospital bills because of
that's a rumor. I've not confirmed that.
Yeah.
But it was wild.
Was the exchange with Tom and who?
And Jeff Ross. Jeff swears, where he went and that.
Yeah, he said that watch it, buddy, or something like that.
Yeah, because he made fun of Kraft's Florida
joke,
incident, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and he went up to him and he said cut the shit or something like that.
Yeah.
And Jeff and him are cool. Like, it really wasn't anything that was agreed to beforehand or whatever, and so it wasn't as big as people made it out to be. As Jeff told me. but the crazy thing is that moment is the most viral moment, from the roast in terms of awkwardness, instead of the other stuff being just like laugh out loud funny jokes. And so the cutaway in the middle of that is to me and my wife Susie, and so we were everywhere because the cutaway, they kept cutting away to Susie and I just like laughing, and I don't know why. I mean, it's great because she looked out. Yeah, there it is right there. I mean, that's her reaction right there, because Robert Kraft wrote her letter of recommendation for college. She's known him forever.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and obviously he's one of my 33 bosses, because, I'll admit I have a boss.
A few.
And so they
Will
cut away to
as well,
us,
right?
but it's a funny joke, man. I mean, again, it's a roast. It's a roast.
But of that awkward moment,
Yes.
did you like feel the awkwardness in it, or was it kind of like a fleeting passing by? It happened to just get stretched.
No, I was just laughing. It's funny.
Yeah.
I thought, honestly,
Funny
I
is
didn't
funny.
see. I didn't.
Funny's
I
funny.
didn't see Tom go up to him because I
Yeah.
just like. Nor did Susie, because her face is in her hand.
I just figured Tom was like being funny himself, like to where you're whispering something, but it's going to be heard.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Like there's a
It could've
microphone
been.
right here, and you're just like essentially talking to
Like
him.
he
I
knew
think
it was
the-
going to, that
plus I
everybody's
think-
going to be able to hear
In
it.
all honesty, I think the first hour of the roast, like if you asked Brady, he probably wouldn't remember it. Like he was
I bet.
like just it's. I can't imagine being the roastee, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Especially
honestly,
going through the divorce, all that. Like it's funny too that
Right, it was all
he
out
goes
there.
at Kraft, and that's when he gets mad. But all the things about his wife also deflating balls and all that
was
stuff.
that the joke where Kevin Hart said something along the line? Was it Kevin Hart talk
Some-
about the black, like she's taken 15 lessons of jujitsu and still has like a white belt?
Oh,
or
how'd you
something
not
like
see that coming? That was
Right,
Kevin. Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, it was off. And he was great too, Brady, when it was his turn to
Yeah.
roll
He was.
at the
It was all,
end.
it was all really good. There's of the guys that aren't comedians. Who did you think did the best?
Wow.
So yeah,
I thought Bledsoe was great. Gronk did in fact write most of his stuff. Like at one point he goes, "I wrote that." Haha. Like
Yeah.
that wasn't his.
He
that
really
wasn't
did.
him being just trading in on his persona just
Yeah.
for a joke. He legitimately wrote that and was proud of how he wrote that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
and
I
it's
love
great.
that.
So so from my vantage point where Susie and I were sitting, I'm sitting here, the stage was to my left, sort of like in the position where you are, and where Jack is over there, you could see the prompter that they were reading off of. So it's kind of like, when you go to a football game, like in Dallas, or if you've been to one in LA, sometimes you'll be watching the game on the big screen and you have to remind yourself there's a live football version of it,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
in front,
yeah.
like you're here at the game, you should watch it down on the field instead of on the huge big screen. Sometimes though, I would be looking over at the prompter and seeing what they were saying on the stage. Was that real? Was that ad-libbing or not, and how they were following it? Gronk was way off his prompter.
Yeah.
Like way off. Like I felt bad for the prompter operator trying to keep up and find out where he was going to try to pick back up
Right,
again.
right.
Like that person had a
hell of
rough
a day.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, had a hell of
Yeah.
a day. Like needed a nap after the roast.
Well, even Tony was supposed to stay at his seat, right? And then he went
I
up and
think
did
so.
No,
his
I
whole
think
bit.
I think he was supposed to start at his seat
Mhm.
and then get up on stage. That's what I heard. Again, I
He-
haven't spoken
He
to him.
was telling me that it was like he had like a minute or two at the table, but was not supposed to go up on the stage.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and
It
then
might
he
have
went up and
changed.
took
It
over.
might have changed right before because he was a late addition to the entire thing.
Well, and so were a lot of people. That's my point. Is the reason why it was 3 hours long is they put a lot of, hooks in the water to get people, and a lot of people committed really late, and so they're like, "All right, we'll just make it longer." Like, what are you going to tell Will Ferrell? No, you can't play.
Right.
Ron Burgundy.
It was great
Right.
to see.
Get
Ron
out of here.
Burgundy
You know what I
come
mean?
out.
Or Belichick and Kraft. I heard Kraft was a late ad, and they just like Goodfellas, they flew a table in and put it right in the front.
That's awesome.
And so I didn't care. It was great. For a 3 hour roast, it felt like half that time. It was great.